Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today we're going to be using a protractor to help us create this Santa in a sleigh with some reindeer. And if you look at a protractor is actually made so that people can actually measure angles. It's got a straight edge and then it's got a curve edge. And for this art lesson, we're going to be using both of these edges. But if you look at the numbers here, you'll see that it has various numbers here. And in the very center, it has actually a dot, which is a 90. And it's actually a 90 degree. And when you drop straight down, this forms a right angle to the bottom here. So that's called a 90-degree angle. We'll be using some different angles in this, and I'll be telling you to go to different points on our protractor number, and I'm going to be calling the numbers from the outer ring. So I may say go to the 40 or go to the 120 and do a curve like that, and we'll be just tracing our curves. But I wanted just to introduce you quickly to a protractor. And if you look at our Santa here, most of the protractor shapes that we'll be tracing are going to be turned around. So it actually looks like a smiley face. And that's the first shape that we're going to be tracing here, tracing the protractor. And it's going to actually form Santa's sleigh. If you look here, I've placed it right here on the edge. And I've left a little bit of room here. This is a 12 by 18 paper, by the way. And if you use a standard size protractor, you'll have enough for one Santa and two reindeer. So let me go ahead and show you how we do this. You start off, like I said, 12 by 18 paper. And then if you measure from, or just rough eyeball it, that's what I do, top to bottom, find the rough estimate center here. From side to side, the center. I'm going to drop down a little bit, probably about 2 fingers down, 2 to 3 fingers down, because I want to have room for my Santa. I want my Santa to take up my hand here. And then this is going to form his sleigh. So our first step is to take and trace the bottom curve of our protractor. I like to put a dot on each end, make sure I'm parallel, and then just trace it to the dot. Right there, as best you can. And then this area I'm keeping opened. So now I'm going to go to the center point of my protractor, right at the 3 where the dot is. That's where we actually measure our angles from. And then I'm going to slide up, and using this curve, I'm going to put this on. If you look at the numbers, let me flip it over so you can see it. If I line it up to the corner here, this is too big of a dip. So I want to just bring it up to about a 40 right here. And I'm reading the inside numbers. So bring it up to a 40. Make sure you keep this parallel on top. And of course, if you bring it to a 50, it's not going to make much of a difference, or a 30, it's not going to make much of a difference. But you want to make sure you stop before the end of this curve here. Okay, so let me show you. So watch me first, and then you can go ahead. Like I said, I like the 40. And I like to stop about a 110. So I go from the 40 mark to the 110, and I stop. And that's leaving a finger right here. Now the top of the sleigh is pretty easy. If you take your finger, measure, I'm just going to simply, and this is the beautiful wooden curve that comes around here, I'm just going to simply curve it down gently to meet, and then I'm curving it like a rainbow arch over and down. And then this is simply making a diagonal and then curving it back down. So it has a beautiful little wooden curve here. Now, the sleigh rails at the bottom, the sled skis, I line up the center here, where we make our angles from. I line up the center dot to the bottom of the sleigh, and then I just simply trace the inside line right there. Then I go ahead and I drop down, and I trace the bottom ski. Let's make sure you can see it here. And I'm going to trace the bottom ski leaving about 1/4 of an inch. Trace the bottom ski. And now I'm going to work the inner rails, these actual pieces of metal that attach the ski to the sleigh. So I just simply take my angle or my straight line, and I'm not going to do it straight. I'm going to put a slight diagonal. So do a slight angle, and then I'm going to angle it in. And I'm just going to eyeball the angles, but if you want to get out and measure them so they're exactly the same, you can. Of course, they're going to be opposite angles, but if you wanted to measure it, oh, let me slide my paper over so I can reach it. You'd put the corner, the hole, where it's the number 3, make sure you're parallel here, and then you can take your line, and if you want to use another piece of paper to line it up, you can exactly see the measurement of the exact. And it's a little bit under 80, so it's probably, there's our 70 mark. So that would be a 70-degree angle. 75, 76, it's about a 76, I'd say. Yeah, it's about a 76 right there. And then you would have to flip it over and match it on the back if you want to make them the exact same. But that's how you can measure this angle in here and there as well. What's fun is if you're doing this as a math project, you can then go back and label all these if you'd like. But we're just going to draw the picture today. So let's continue on our back ski. I'm going to go ahead and come down on this side. And this is the attaching. And then I'm going to come over. And I'm going to bring the bottom together. And this is going to be a number 1. Now this is the fancy part up in here. Curving round. Go right here. But the front of the ski is going to be curved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up here, find the ending point of your ski. I'm going to jump up and I'm going to put a dot. Now I'm going to do a backwards curve like the letter C, and I'm going to end at the base of my ski. Now I'm going to do the same again on the inside. It's going to come and meet here, curve to a point right there. So that is the bottom ski of the sleigh. Now we're on to the Santa. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to find the center of the sleigh. Now we've got to visualize where we want this. I want a little sack of toys here, right in here. This will be where my sack of toys is. Actually, I could just go ahead and put the sack of toys in first. So if you put your fingers down here and then just roughly kind of trace in and around here. This kind of makes it look like a free-form blob, which is like a sack. And then at the top, I'm just going to go diagonally out and diagonally out. And this will be the sack of toys that's tied. And then I'll just have a free-form curved line here connecting. And if you want to put some string coming out here, you can, with a little bit of string in here coming out. So there's our toys. Now Santa is going to be sitting in his sleigh next to the toys. So I'm going to take, now that was from my knuckles up, so I'm going to take and line up here where your outer knuckles here. If I line them up and I put it right here, this is where Santa's going to be. So I'm going to put a top here, just do a line here, and that's going to be the top of his hat. So from here down is going to be Santa. So let's go ahead and put him in. So this is going to be the top of actually the hat brim. And so I'm going to come below this. I'm going to do 2 circles, 1, 2, actually ovals for eyeballs. Now, however you want to make your Santa, I'm just going to teach you a very quick, simple way to do this. With circles, it's more going to be on the cartoony flavor than a realistic Santa. And very simple to do. Now, the nose is going to be an oval, and that's sideways. And underneath this, I'm going to put a dot in the middle, and I'm going to curve down, curve over, and down. This is going to be a mustache. Now I'm going to bring it back. And now I'm going to add a beard. So I'm going to find the center, jump down, put a little dot, and that's about 2 to 3 fingers down. And if you want to make a really long beard, you can add a real long beard. That's up to you. And then I'm going to curve and touch the beard. Curve from the top of the mustache around and touch the beard. And from here, I'm going to take and I'm going to start off at the edge of the beard and just go straight down. Edge of the beard, straight down. And this is going to be his cloak or his coat, either one. And I'm going to do some giant circles right in here. Now for his arms, you can have his arms waving in the air. See how this one is like he's going ho, 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 Merry Christmas, and he's lifting up his arms. So however you want to do that, but I'm going to stick his hat in first. So I'm going to take the brim and I'm going to come around his eyes, and then I'm just going to come out a little and out a little. And this is the fur-lined hat, so I'm going to just kind of give it a line with a little bit of a wave to it to show it's a little texture, furry texture. And then I'm going to connect down to the beard. If you want to put a little bit of hair on here, you could just put a little line coming off of the hat, just connecting. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the top of the hat. So this is the white part that trims out his big red hat. And for here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to visualize, I'm going to go over from the top of the head up and diagonal. So I'm like going toward the corner of the page. I'm going to stick it. Now, wherever you want your hat to end, I want this hat to be curved over and down. See how the example is? It's curved over and down. If you want a tall, pointy hat, you can make it pointy. Wherever you want the hat to end is where you're going to put the little snowball. Maybe I'll have mine come a little bit lower. And it's actually a free-form circle, which is actually a little fur ball on the end of his hat. Now I'm going to curve up and around like a rainbow arch to the edge. So I'm going to come out, up, and back down. I don't want to end it here, just a little bit from the end here. This is where it's actually touching off of his head. So I'm going to come up as a straight line, and I'm going to come off of this, and it's kind of making a taper. It's going very thin, and then it's slowly getting thicker and curve around. So the hat is flopped over and curvy. If you want to add a little bit of lines here coming out, that's to show fabric bending. But there I have the Santa that's sitting in the sleigh. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the arms. And you want your arms, you can position them any way you want. If you want them coming down, maybe holding the reins. You can have this one coming up, waving, that's up to you. I might make this one, I'll do one going down, so I'll show you how to do it. Come off of the beard, find the center. So from the beard to his cloak, find the center. And this one I'll just have coming down. And this can be even behind the package of toys. Or you can even have them holding the package of toys. Now this one I'll have waving out. Hello, Merry Christmas. So I'll have it coming up. So I'm going to find the center or find the top of where the face meets the beard, and then where the beard meets the cloak. I'll find the middle there, and I'm just going to go curve it up. And I want it to be at least 4 fingers. And then I want it to be a finger wide. So I'm going to come over and then curve it back down. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a mitten. So I put my, oops, I can't see this. So I'm going to put my finger out where it meets the knuckle, have it meet the end of his arm, and I'm going to slide my finger over and I'm going to trace around. Then I'm going to connect it, and then I'm going to come up and back, and that's my little thumb. And there he is waving, Merry Christmas. And of course, if you want to add detail in your sack of toys, you can even add some more presents here, some dolls, or whatever you want to add. Candy canes coming out. Here's a candy cane. Up and back. Bring it over, down, and then add some stripes. So you can have candy canes coming out of this toy sack, whatever you want to add. But I'm going to go ahead and start and show you how to do the reindeer now. So there's our Santa. We'll slide over. Now the reindeer, here's the bottom of the page so you can see where we are. you want to take the protractor and you want to have this line parallel with the bottom of the page. And I'm just going to put him, now in order to fit two of them, you want to put the inside pretty close to the edge of the sleigh because we got to space out. So if we estimate, here's where one reindeer is going to be, then I want to estimate the second reindeer because you want to have room for its head. So bring it over almost touching the edge of the sleigh. So here's my inside right here. That's where the reindeer will be. I'm going to slide it just over a hair and I'm going to bring it down a little bit so I have room for a tail. And I want to keep this line, make sure this line is parallel with the bottom of the paper. And I'm going to go ahead and trace the top and trace the curve here. That forms the actual reindeer body. Now for the neck, I'm going to come up, skip over a finger, and come down. Okay? That's going to be his neck. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the outer edge. Actually, it was the inside curve. Let me make sure I get that right angle, that angle correct. Yeah, it was a it was a 60. So what I do is I find the center between the two, it's kind of like number ones, and I put a dot right here. Then I line up the 60 right on the dot. Make sure you keep the inside line parallel. You don't want it to be crooked. So I'm putting the inside of the protractor at 60. This is parallel. And so I'm going to trace this curve right here from the edge of the inside right to 60. Then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Line this up straight. But on the other side, I'm going to go to from the 120 right there. And then you can trace the top. So here you have a nice shape right here for your reindeer. Now go ahead and add the antlers. And you can design the antlers any way you want to. If you want to have them curving out, which kind of looks cool. This curve out and then curve out with this one. Okay, but this stuff you can invent however you want to do this. Some kids like to freehand to this. That's up to you. And then add, I'm just going to freehand it real fast because that's a lot faster. And then add more parts to the antlers coming up and as big as you want to. Now the eyes are just simple. You can get realistic. You can do your eyes any way you want to, but this is just simple 2 circles. And then I kind of come up and back for the little nose right in here. And your ears, it's kind of like a capital letter A. So come up and back, and put a little one in the inside. And there's my simple ears. So it's very simple, the reindeer, and it comes out adorable. Stick a little tail on, so come curve it out and back. And then our simple legs. Now you want the legs to line up. Excuse me. You want the legs to line up with the sleigh body because it's all on the same plane of ground. So I'm going to come over with the sleigh, and I'm going to come over and extend my line. And then underneath, I want one leg coming off of the front here. And then I want one leg coming off the back here. And then I'm just going to simply connect them using the straight line. And if you want to put more reindeer legs on, you can. You can do the front and back. That's up to you. If you want to do smaller ones in the back now. So the ones in the back are going to be shorter. So I come in and a little bit skinnier. Whoops. So that's on the other side of them. You can even put him, if you want him kicking out, you could. Or stick him in here. That's up to you. I might make him kind of prancing. Well, if I have him prancing, his leg has to come behind. So I'll make his leg come behind. So he'll come out like Prancer. So come out straight, and then I'm coming, actually it's on a diagonal, and then come down this way. You can have his leg bent if you want to. And then add little hoofs. Just little lines for hoofs. There. Now the little, if you want to add this, the little reins, you can do this, some curves, and then I curve it here, just using these curves, right in here, and then add all the little jingle bells, little circles. That just gives some real detail to this. There. Now you would add the second reindeer right over here. So leave enough space for the inside. Now we're doing, remember, the inside and the top. You want to leave enough space for the antlers. So your reindeer, you want him to line up at the same level, the same line as this, coming off of here. Just come over and put him as close as you can, because you want to leave plenty of room for those antlers. And just a little tail space away, and then you can start on your second reindeer. And some kids even extended their paper and added another piece and did 4 and 6 reindeer just by extending paper. You can just tape them or glue them together. But this is where the reindeer will go, right in here, your second reindeer. And then you can even attach them with a string if you'd like, connecting together, you know, right to the rein from here. And if you want to make a rein connecting, he can connect right to the sleigh. And then add some jingle bells. And then have some and then you can have the rein even coming right down. Right there. And then this will be connected to, here's the reins in here, just so that you have an idea of what it looks like. And then just connect them to him. He can have some coming right across his neck even. They're all connecting together, and connect them. There. And then you can finish the rest of the reindeer on your own. And let's see what it looks like. Let's see if I can raise it up. And here is the completed picture with the second reindeer. And I did have a little bit less room for my reindeer. So what I did was I just made the head a little bit smaller and made it a female reindeer right in here. And if you remember, in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, his girlfriend was named Clarice. So that could be Clarice and Rudolph pulling Santa's sleigh. I hope you had fun making your simple, easy reindeer using a protractor.